Here we go. At the top of the class on the road. And it's time to run it up. Yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, who about to see me on demand like. No on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string. You ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we're coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on the road. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on the road, hey. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this shows off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First is going to be my friends over at House Call Pro. All of you out there, if you're still using pen and paper, what are you in the freaking Stone Age? Come on now. You have to have a CRM that is going to make your job easier for you and for your technicians. House Call Pro is the best bang for your buck. I've told this story a million times. When I first came to Beltway and we put our plan together to build this company up, I said, we can never do it with House Call Pro. We need to switch to one of the big boys. And all House Call Pro has done is prove me wrong. Um, we have projected to, be close to $10 million using House Call Pro. And they're like, oh, you can never get that big using it. Well, that's not true. For what this cost, you can't beat it. For us to switch for what we pay for 30 something employees to use House Call Pro would pay for maybe six at some of these other ones. House Call Pro really is constantly growing. They listen to you. It works. It's great for the office. Simple, easy to use. Set the schedule. I check the schedule every night. It makes it super simple. Whether you're from a desktop, an iPad, an iPhone, it doesn't matter. The technician side, it gives the technician all the tools that they need to be able to go out there and do their job and worry about fixing it. Worry about the customer's issues at hand and not the CRM not working. They can't find what they need. So anybody out there, if you're looking to make a switch or you're looking to get your very first CRM, give my friends over at House Call Pro a try. If you go to www.housecallpro.com/HVAC Uncensored, they will give you a free 14-day trial. And just for being a part of HVAC Uncensored Nation, you will get 50% off your first 3 months. Actually, that might be 2 months, but you get 50% off the first couple of months. So if you're out there and you're looking for that, check out my friends at House Call Pro. Remember, work simpler, grow smarter. Next is going to be you know who it is. My friends over at BLUON. We're getting ready to get into the summer season. And I joke with people and I'm like, well, what if there was a company or a place that it can be 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday and I can still get help if God forbid I get in trouble. Um, I'm sick and tired of, oh man, I missed the OEM tech support because it's, you know, 4:49 and I have to hurry up and hope that I get in and my phone call gets answered before they close. Well, those days are over. BlueOn is there to help every single person who calls in. Yeah, they have to start charging now, but hey, nothing in life is free. And they did it for free for the longest time, and people didn't realize the power of what they have. I always say this, even if it was only just the tech support, that would be enough for me. Having tech support 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, I don't think people realize how powerful that is. All right. These technicians running around need to know that they are not alone. There's somebody there to help them, whether they work for a good company, a bad company. They can't call their supervisor. They're afraid to ask for questions. Doesn't matter. BLUON is there to help get you through it. And at the same time, they're going to provide you with any manual that you may need because somebody didn't leave it. It's amazing how the manuals can provide the answers for you. Also, you can order your parts through the app. I understand that some of you technicians, you don't get to decide where you order your parts from, but if you do, our technicians at Beltway love it. I don't care how they get their parts. Normally, our office does order the parts, even though they still do it through BLUON. The guys use the BLUON app for their truck stock, and their truck stock shows every day. It comes every day. It gets dropped off to them, and it's there waiting for them, so their truck is constantly stocked. BLUON is trying to make the HVAC technicians and business owners' job simpler, and that is exactly what they do. So if you do not have the BLUON app downloaded, what in the hell are you waiting for? All right. With that being said, BLUON is upgrading the HVAC industry each and every day. Last but not least, I'm going to do one more tonight. Normally, I only do two. It's going to be my friends over at Yellow Jacket. Once again, going through the summer. Everybody's getting ready to make that summer money. It's getting ready to be, we're going to need Brinks trucks to bring those overtime checks. I always tell you, I will never tell you what to buy. All I do is make recommendations. And I love Yellow Jacket. It reminds me of when I started in this trade with my dad. And all I say is if you're going to spend some of that money, you're looking to upgrade your tools, to give them a look. Go in your local supply house, check some of their stuff out. Some of their new products are absolutely amazing. And regardless of what manifold you upgrade to, Yellow Jacket hoses should be hooked up to it because they are the best in the business. Their new Titan manifold is absolutely amazing. I've been messing with that thing, and it is sweet. I'm not even gonna lie, it's sweet. And you guys know, I have every single brand's manifold at my disposal, and I have been grabbing the Yellow Jacket more than not. And not because I have to, no cameras around, nobody knows. That's just me telling you guys because I really like the durability and the functionality of the new digital manifold. So if you're looking for a new one, go check them out. And remember, 75 years of expertise built into every tool. On with the pledge. Let's get rolling. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday, another hump day, and another amazing show. Real fast, before we introduce our amazing guests, I want to thank everybody that's in here. Got it used to turning my head. I put a monitor over here long ways for the chat. It looks good, but I'm just trying to think about how I'm going to do this. But hello to everybody in here. I know Mr. Freon Leon has been the first one in here the last couple of weeks. So what is up, my man? Mr. HVAC Obsessed. Mr. Jason Johnson, what is up, my brother? Let's see. Say hello to everybody. Make sure I'm not missing some people. I know it's Mr. Brian Sanders. What is up, my man? HVAC Rookie. What is up, my brother? Miss Jessica Egan. How are you doing, my lady? Let me see. Mr. Nasty, what is up, brother? Somebody said Pat. Seeing if I miss a name. Mr. East Coast, what is up? What is up? Mr. Deep Fried Commercial Kitchens, thanks for coming back. Appreciate you. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. If I missed you, I am sorry. But thank you all for being here. Guys, I have a great episode tonight, and I want all of you to really pay attention to this because I'm going to talk about it when I introduce the guest. But when this product was shown to me, I was like a 6-year-old on Christmas morning. I was so freaking excited about this. And this is one of the only episodes that the people didn't try to book with me. I asked them to do the podcast because I thought that this was so awesome that people need to know about this. And maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm really excited for the show. So, guys, without further ado, if you guys can please put your hands together and help me introduce one of the co-founders of Get Conduit and an amazing software, Miss Shelby Breger. Why is it not switching? Ooh, hold on. Look, having technical difficulties. Hello, Miss Shelby. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time to talk about this.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I really appreciate Jason Johnson in particular for staying up past his bedtime. I saw 14 minutes till bedtime, so hopefully it'll be 14 minutes worth it. But I couldn't agree more. Honestly, normally I'm like lying on the couch like a potato at this hour. So this is far more exciting than my average Wednesday night.
No, I get you. I stay up on Wednesday nights, but when I normally, especially now with my hour drive to work, I mean, I've already gotten up. I already get up early, but now I'm up at like 4:35, so that I can get on the road to be at the office by 6:37. So it definitely comes around quickly.
Oof, that is early.
It is, but I don't know. I've always been like getting up early. I feel like you get up early, and half of my day I can accomplish so much by people that wake up at like 9 or 10. Don't get me wrong. On the weekends, if I can sleep in, I most certainly will. But when there's times to get done, I like the whole sleeping in. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, getting up early, sleeping in on the weekends.
Absolutely.
But I guess real fast before we dive into the software, I guess let everybody know a little bit about you and what Get Conduit is per se.
Yeah. So I'm Shelby. I'm one of the co-founders of Conduit. We started the company a couple of years ago, and my background prior to entering the HVAC world was in industrial energy efficiency. So working to try and make plants operate with a little bit less energy. And it just felt really, really far from the end consumer and the end impact. And what I started learning about was this whole realm of residential energy efficiency and how important heating and cooling is to that entire ecosystem and journey. I met my co-founder along the way as we just tried to learn about the industry, and we're super welcomed into it by so many people, and probably this very community as well. It just was wild how many people were willing to talk to us about the trade and what the challenges were and the obstacles to selling high efficiency equipment and making the world a wonderful, better place, a more comfortable place for homeowners, and one that operates more efficiently. And so that's where this all came from. We've been working on the company for over 3 years now, only a little over 2 in a formal capacity, but just trying to learn as much as possible to figure out how could we support the HVAC world. And it's been so much fun along the way.
I bet. So did you have anybody from the trades, like actually with like the HVAC like knowledge, like help you guys build this? And then there was like the computer technical side, because this is very detailed. Like you guys didn't miss a beat with this thing, and you guys will understand what I'm talking about here soon. This thing is freaking awesome.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And I will tell you, so first off, for those of you who don't know, we build design and sales enablement software. The goal is to help contractors stand out inside the home with high quality work, something that everyone's committed to doing, but very difficult to do in practice in a cost-effective and profitable way. And when we started, my co-founder and I, when we started researching, honestly, just learning about the industry, we spent a year just interviewing people, understanding what are the challenges that they're facing in the home. We talked to owners, technicians, sales team members, everyone in the HVAC firm. We talked to utilities. We talked to all kinds of people just to understand what went through each sort of party's mind. But very early in that journey, we met a few different HVAC companies who really were super supportive, and then a few advisors from the industry who were super supportive. So some of those include Chris Morin, who is an educator and a former service manager in the Northeast. We worked with Alex Meany, who was super helpful to help us think about design and make sure that we could build something user-friendly, but also accurate. We worked with a couple HVAC firms. One of our earliest partners was Rob Bassnett out of Massachusetts. For any of you who have ever met him, he is the kindest person and just welcomed us into his company and let us learn from him, and was the most honest and transparent person. And those were just some of the few people who started helping us like 2.5, 3 years ago, just because they wanted to see the industry move forward, and they wanted to they saw people who wanted to build technology, but wanted to build it with the feedback of the industry. And I would say everything we have built over the last 3 years has been 100% driven by the industry, not by us. We run everything about what we do is we ask people for feedback, and then we build based off of that feedback. And so while we have an incredible product designer on our team, we have an incredible engineering team. All of the feedback, all of the insights come from our users. And before we had a functioning product, it came from all the people who were willing to support us until they could use it.
Yeah, no. So, and I know I'm probably not going to explain it as good as Shelby, but a lot of you understand, especially in the residential market, that one of the biggest issues is not properly sized equipment. And people don't do load calculations. They just go out, and if there was a 3-ton there, they put a 3-ton back. And one thing that we do at Beltway is every time that we sell a system, especially if something seems off, we are going to do some kind of load calculation. We're going to make sure that we are offering the right system so that we're not making the same mistake somebody else did and, sell the customer something that's not the right system for their home. So what they have is an iPad app. It has to be an iPad Pro, which makes sense for now, because it has the lidar scanner. I can literally take my iPad and scan a room, and it maps the whole room out for you. So if I'm walking through a house and I do the basement, then I go do the top left, then I come back to the kitchen, and then if I do it in some goofy order, it automatically just puts it together for you. And it looks amazing. The fact that I can just click, and it goes into the ether and grabs all the information from the house. And it'll know what kind of insulation it has based on, the year it was built. You can enter it all in manually, but the fact that it simplifies it and it gets you in the right place, it is pretty awesome. That's all I'm going to say. Like, it is awesome. It's easy. And you can't beat it. When I did this demo, I was just like, I love this. So when it comes to price, so when you guys ask price, man, like I understand it, but a lot of times I don't like to say the price on here like this, because I feel like if you don't watch a demo to actually see it, it's undervaluing when you just throw a number. I'll tell you this, it's not cheap. But then again, nothing is. Nothing, especially in our industry, nothing worth having is cheap. But to me, it is worth every single penny for what it does. So that's all I'm gonna say. And to be honest, I don't remember exactly, because that was, out of everything I got from the demo, the price was the least of our worries. When we saw what it actually did. Sorry, I know it's your software, but I was excited to.
I love it. No, this is far better. I talk about it all the time. Everybody else can pitch it better, and you do it far better than I can.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just things like this just make it easy to talk about, and seeing what it does, and the issue that we love to do, because now they have all these different apps that you can do for load calculation and stuff like that, but they're all generic and they still take a bunch of time to enter the data. And if you enter it, this is another problem. If you enter it incorrectly, then it's going to spit out the incorrect information. What I love about yours is it almost does it for you. pretty much. Like, you can't get it wrong if you do exactly what it tells you to do. And I love that because I was a tech for years. Granted, now I'm a general manager, but you have to keep it simple, stupid if you want to do things in mass quantity, because if you ask technicians to do too many things, they won't do it. And that's just the truth. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. Don't get butthurt. That's the truth. If I tell a guy, I want you to have a $1,000 average ticket, get a 5-star review on every call. I want you to, and I just keep naming things off. Chances are you're not going to get to every single one of them. So that's what I'm talking about. So the easier that we can make things, the more efficient that we can make things, it's more of a chance that people are actually going to do it. I've seen technicians that can have all the resources in front of them, and then all of a sudden it's, I just guessed, I didn't use it. Well, why didn't you use it? Because it was easier for me just to say they had a 3-ton in there, so I just went back with it. So I am riding the pine now. My air conditioning office is nice and comfortable, Jason. They make fun of me because I'm not in the field anymore, but they just bust my balls.
But the point you make around like guardrails is value, and how much needs to be done inside the home is like pretty insane. I'm just thinking about like your average like sales professional, your project manager, your comfort advisor. It becomes a whole next level once you start thinking about a service tech who also might be selling a new install. But for me, like, I was blown away on our initial ride alongs. There's like 15 steps you got to squeeze in there. And if you aren't getting through them, it makes sense, right? You have maybe an hour and a half, if you're lucky, inside the home to get them all done. And so one of the key things that stood out to us was that whatever you're doing has to be building value in front of the customer. And if you aren't showing it to the customer, they have no idea how much work you're putting in behind this. And you also have to differentiate yourself. So it's like a tall order, a huge task that you have in front of you every time you're in front of the customer. And so for us, a big piece of what we were thinking about, and I think that's probably true about, frankly, all of your sponsors, is how do you help the contractor stand out in front of the homeowner with all of the work that they ideally are doing anyways, but also make that work a little bit easier to do, because nothing is going to replace that person in the home and the ability to communicate really challenging and difficult concepts to the homeowner. Like, nothing's going to replace that. I think AI is really cool. We're definitely not at the place where that could ever replace somebody being able to explain and put it in really human terms. And I think for us, all of it comes down to how do you support that communication with the homeowner while getting the rest of the work done that your team still wants you to get done? Because right now it's impossible. Doing a load calculation prior to some of the new technology that we've been building and some of the other tools that you see coming out here, it just it's taken 2 hours, and that you can't expect to profitably do on any job unless you bake it into your pricing and then become really, really, premium relative to the rest of the market. So it's definitely very challenging. And I think that's where we really focused in on, is how can we support the person in the field who has a lot they need to get done and also wants to build value with the homeowner.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, we'll put it in the chat. It's going to be getconduit.com. That's their website. If you go to that, that's where you can, click the link to try to get a demo. People are asking, is there a demo for us to try out? I don't know if she can show it on here, but
let's see.
I was gonna say, if not, I can get it to where you can share your screen.
Yeah, it will be less interesting for the podcast people, but I'm okay with that if they're okay with that. And I can just talk through it. So let me see if I can share my screen. I'll share a video version of it just because I don't think I'll be able to join this on another device. Can you see my screen?
No, here, let me get to a blank screen. So I'm going to do a new screen. Let me unlock this real fast. There it is. And this is guest 2. And screen just for this. Why is this not working? Here, we can do it this way. Yeah, there
Beautiful.
We go.
All right.
Yeah, look up in the corner.
Perfect. Let me
see if I can click it and sold.
If we hide our faces, I think people you can at least hide my face. Maybe it'll look bigger that way.
Well, here, what I can do is I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to go to the normal sponsor screen, and then I'm going to camera. Yeah, because I want you guys to see this. I'll change this way later, and then I have to change this to It's always got to be difficult. Make it work. Don't worry. There we go. Oh, hold on. I got to unmute you now. For some reason, it muted you. There we go.
All right. Fabulous. Well, I will give a quick 3-minute overview. But for anyone who wants to learn more, we can absolutely find a time to share this and show you what we're doing. But what I'll do is I'll play this short video and give you a sense of what it looks like. So I'm going to start by creating a job. I'll type in an address. From that address, I can confirm that it's all right to proceed with the customer. We're going to pull in the year the home was built. I'm going to quickly fill in information about the structure, and this is where we put in a little bit of guardrails. The goal is to focus technicians on the most important drivers of load. So how many stories, what's the ground type, what is the frame or block wall type, what are the window types, what's the attic insulation, answering some simple questions as we go to set up the project. And what this then does is it predefines a lot of attributes for you about the home and gives you sense, like for infiltration, based off of building age, a good starting place. And this is where users can update as much as they want to. You can add as much granularity as you would ever dream of in the Manual J. But you can also rely on some of these inputs as a starting place and as some guidance, because in that questionnaire up front, you're answering a lot of the big drivers of load. From there, you have your project all set up and you can start the scan. So, and you can add ductwork and do whatever you would like here. So when I start my scan, I identify where I'm scanning just so I can tell the platform, hey, this is where I'm going. And then I start. So what you'll see, welcome to my home. You'll see me start at the top of the wall, move to the bottom of the wall, and I'm going to create a 3D model of my structure as I go. And I'm just moving the camera, and this is a 1x speed. So this is the speed at which I was moving through the space. And you'll see that I'm just going around the corners, grabbing them as I go. And then once I see this room complete, I'm going to hit stop and I can scan my next segment. So from here, I have it all structured out and I can hit another segment and then I can walk down that hallway, and that enables me to start capturing the space. So you'll see that it starts mapping out very, very quickly. And I'm just trying to grab those corners as I go. And I'm always trying to race against the guidance telling me to move slower, because you don't need to move that. You can move very, very fast. In fact, this entire video takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So here's the room I'm in right now, scanning that all closed, and I can hit done. And with that, I have my 3D model formed at the bottom of the screen. I can adjust the scan if I need to. I can run room assignment if I need to. I just hit block load right here, and I'm actually done. So I have my customer facing report. I have my 3D model, my 2D floor plan, and a load calculation all done. A Manual J report also complete, and you'll see all the information that you would expect here. So it is really cool. It's done quickly, and the goal here is that you can get to those answers fast. The last thing I'll show you, I believe, is a visualization. So I can visualize what a mini split will look like, and this is one of many augmented reality tools we've released and will continue to release. But I can position on the wall what some of that will look like for to get a sense as to what it's going to look like in your space. So we've released a bunch of different things. We'll continue to do so, but the core is, how do you use the design process as an engagement tool and showcase that to the customer, because they're super lucky if you are going through this process, regardless of what technology you're using. Your customers are lucky that you're doing that, and they should know it and they should see it. And that's what this product's all about.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. Here, let me go back to us. There we go. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm so glad she was able to do that so you can see it, because that is awesome, man. Like, that is pretty sweet. And that's literally how easy it is to just be able to, bam, a 3D model. And think about it nowadays, especially when you have these big companies out there where it's like, they're magicians, look over here while I'm stealing your checkbook. It's all about, sorry, I want to try and make you spit your water out. But it's all about providing value and being different than everybody else. One thing at Beltway, we're trying to do, quality, not quantity. Obviously, we want to do quality in a large quantity, but if we keep doing quality work, we know that we're going to grow by doing that. And something like this is amazing when you walk in. And one thing is, we don't use the salesman model. I just don't. We let our technicians, we train them for them to be able to do it. The ones who want to, some of them don't, and I don't force it on them. And this is they already have iPads. Just so you guys know, as of right now, it has to be an iPad Pro. And just so you know that's because the iPad Pro is the only one that has the lidar scanner. So that's what you need to be able to do the scan. And Shelby did tell me earlier that they're doing something where they're going to make it through iPhone Pros and stuff like that, but it's not out yet. But yeah, it makes it easy when they go in. And it's like, that old R22 system needs to be replaced. And it's like, yeah, I can give you some prices on some new ones, but I also want to let you know that the system you have is way too big for your home. You can come back, like I can go through and scan your house. I can show it to you. It'll be a model of it. And I can go over exactly what size that you need. And then we can discuss some options that's going to fit you. Maybe they're going to add in some, air cleaners and humidity stuff. Like you don't know, but you're adding value. And those people are more likely to spend legitimate money with you because you're putting in the work. You can't be that company that goes in and sits there for 10 minutes and says, $25,000, give it to me. And they're like, get out of my house. Have a good night, Jessica. Thank you so much for being here. She's in Florida too, but she,
Jessica, bye.
yeah,
Hello, goodbye.
Yeah, she's a kick-ass technician out there. Her and her husband are both technicians. So yeah, I see the value in this. And to be honest, and this is not me saying this because you're here. A lot of times I see these softwares and they're great, but you know what I mean? And there's really not a but, I mean, like I said, yeah, it's not cheap. And this is a subscription model. It's definitely not a one-time thing. But to me, it is worth it's worth every penny. Maybe if you're a smaller company, every technician can't have it, but it's worth having, and it's definitely going to set you apart from the people that you're going against. Because if you have three guys, and I'm just thinking about me, if three guys came in, or three salespeople, I don't want to say guys because we have amazing young ladies doing it. If three people came to my house and one of them did this and sat down, was able to show me all of this, why I need this size and all this kind of stuff, hands down, I don't care if they're more expensive. I'm going to go with them because of the value that they just showed me. And that's just the truth of it. I've never, hello, Liliana Morales. That's a new one. I've never seen that one in here. So thank you for being here.
That's awesome.
I love.
Well, I will say that that's why most people work with us. Is there's two reasons. One is they've been doing a rights off load calculation all of their life, and they're sick of spending 2 hours doing it, and their customers not knowing that they're doing that kind of work for them. And the other segment of our customers is perhaps doing load calculations regularly, maybe not. But what they want is to be able to deliver really high quality service and then also engage their customers in a different way. And that's the constant continuous thing that, I just love about this industry is everybody's committed to raising the bar. Everybody wants to provide a great service for their customer. But we are super lucky to work with just amazing companies across the country who are really committed to doing that. And they see the results in their sales too, because they're building a better relationship with their customer. They're showing more of that work. And if they were doing, a detailed load calculation in the office, now they get to show that work in front of the homeowner, which I think just showcases it differently. And of course, any technology, and I think this is important about everything that's out there, any technology is only as good as the user who feels confident and capable and feels like they can deliver the messages that they want to around what they're doing. Unfortunately for us, our technology can't do that for that user. But what we find is that people are really great at educating their homeowners with some more tools. And that's what makes them committed to working in this field. That's what makes them so excited about their role. But we find that, and that's one of the reasons that we're also so committed to including onboarding and training as part of our process, is our goal is to help you feel confident using it in the home, feel like you can describe what you're doing really well if you didn't already. And then from there, the technician just stands out completely. And it's because of the work they've put in, not because of the work we've put in.
And I love the part of it that it gives you all of the written data that you need. But it also gives you the visuals because, you're going to have. So one thing that we're big at, Ryan, the owner of Beltway, is big on the Myers-Briggs, understanding who you're talking to, and the personality types, which is huge. And it's amazing when you start to learn that, and it's 100% correct. You have some of those people that, they want the details. They want to know that information, that this is what, the temperature it's rated for, and this and this. And then you have other customers who they just like those pretty pictures and they see the value in what you're doing, not necessarily the information that you're giving. And it's everything about it, because I feel like I always say that what we do, I don't want to say it's hard, because you can get good at this industry. Yes, we work in the elements, but you can, if you really want to, you can be really good at this in a short period of time if you have that kind of, go get them attitude. But it's also about doing it right. Don't just do things to get it done. And that's what I love about something like this, because there's so many customers out there bashing brands, regardless of what it is. Bashing different things, and their ductwork's not the right size, their system's not the right size, humidity control is not, like, a lot of people have not really, they don't understand comfort and, why they have this, high efficient equipment. I put it in my own home because I believe in it. And when I go talk to a customer, they can see that. I'll show them. I'll pull out my phone and be like, this is the unit at my house. This is how it works. I'll show them the app and everything. And because I believe in it. It's not just some BS story that I'm telling them to get them to buy something. And something like this explains that kind of stuff, to customers, because we buy efficient equipment for the comfort, not the energy savings. If you're doing that, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, because you should never do that for high efficient equipment. We just, our team just came out this weekend and put a high-end inverter system in my house, which is absolutely amazing. I think I'm going to have to put another one in my house because this house is bigger. I don't think one unit's going to be enough, but I am loving every minute of it. I'm so glad to have an inverter again. I went from a house that had an inverter technology to selling it and renting a house with a piece of junk back to what it needs to be. So it's I'm glad to be back in the home comfort space.
I'm so jealous. I have every time I show people the software, I run a load calculation on my own, the room that I'm in right now, and it faces west. I have a lovely big window, but you can imagine that it gets really freaking hot in here in the middle of the summer around 4 or 5 p.m. And I get these cool little charts that show the data that show I am miserable in here at 4 p.m. midsummer. Honestly, starting in May, it gets pretty uncomfortable in here. In fact, what you'll see is that I clearly have a single stage system by the fact that it gets to about 88 degrees Fahrenheit in here, with my air conditioning unit, my smart thermostat being set to 73 in the hallway. So comfort is key, and I'm a believer in inverter technology as well.
Yeah, man. Hey, do we have somebody in Fort Lauderdale that could please help Shelby out, because she's gonna need some inverter technology, because this isn't gonna work. I was
It is not.
The cell phone service sucks in my studio. I was gonna show my app, and I actually used Lennox's remote sensors, so I can see each individual room, what the temperature is. Like, it's awesome. I really, really do love it. Um, and the other thing that I think is amazing, that something like this and being thorough is why, when we at Beltway, when we sell a brand new system and we're doing the ductwork. So obviously, if we don't install the ductwork, we can't make this kind of warranty. But if we sell you a system and we design your ductwork, we guarantee that each room will be within 1 degree of each other. because if we do it right and there's a science to this. We don't have to guess. And if we do all those things right, we can honor that. And there's been times that we have to go back and maybe adjust some things. But if you do all this kind of stuff and we design it properly, it's amazing how people are like, I didn't know a house could be this comfortable.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna
it
have to move
sells
to
itself.
Maryland just so Beltway can, whatever home I eventually buy, that that you can redo the ductwork and redo the load calculation with Conduit, of course. But
Yeah.
it is, yeah, that I can tell you for a fact that would not describe the apartment I live in.
Yeah, and sometimes apartments can be hard because, the people that are around you, normally you absorb temperature more because of you know, you're surrounded by, other spaces that are conditioned. But yeah, sometimes it can get hard because there's only so much you control. You can't really change ductwork. It is what it is. And, you know, um normally it's okay because they are very like, inspectors and stuff like that in there making sure things, but even inspections nowadays are a joke. It's all a money making scheme. But yeah, it gets hard in apartments. And I know it's hot in Florida. So Maryland, it gets hot and humid. We probably only have 2 months of it, whereas Florida, you have, 9 months, 10 months of it. I don't know, maybe it's 12 months in certain parts. But
It's beautiful
yeah.
for a good portion, and then uncomfortable for at least 3.
Yeah. That's why I think it's funny when they're like, "Oh, you don't understand the humidity in the South." And I'm like, "Well, 95% humidity is 95% humidity no matter where you are. We're all using the same scale." But you guys down there just have it way longer than we do. But Maryland can get it's pretty humid in the summertime,
Oh, for
and
sure.
it gets rough. We just don't have it for that long of a time. I wish my buddy Kraus was in here because he's from Maryland. He's from where I am, and now he lives in Florida doing HVAC. So he would be the prime person to be able to tell you the difference between the two. Um, I wanted to tell you it's not a big deal. Not right now. Your earpiece is hitting your microphone. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like, yeah,
that's annoying.
it's okay. Sometimes it happened, but I figured I'd let you know because you were talking. It was hard to hear you a couple of times, but it's fine.
These are the challenges of being a woman with hair, that it just
Yeah, or a
tracks
man
different things.
with hair. This is long hair for me.
Looks great. Looks great.
I gotta dye my beard again. Those things getting a little gray. Finally got our new Under Armour Beltway shirts though. How about that? You like that?
They're very stylish.
Thank you. Yeah, these are finally nice. I don't like wearing t-shirts to work. I don't know. Maybe it's the military thing. I don't know. I feel like I need to be dust your tools off and help her out. Yeah, I'll go to Florida. I'll put the system in myself. That's fine. And if you guys don't know, now my oldest son, Tyler, works for the company. He was helping out the plumbing department, but now he's in HVAC. So I got the third generation coming into HVAC. I wouldn't let him do it at first. I told him, I said, go fail, and then you come to me. I want him to do this because he wants to, not because dad does it. So so far, so good. We'll see.
That's awesome. That's exciting. I mean, the fact that he wants to do something that you're doing, and it's an amazing industry. So those two things are wonderful things.
Yeah, and I tell people I'm an advocate for the trades, and we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. But how can I be an advocate if I wouldn't let my own child do it? You know what I mean? My thing is, I just want him to do it because he wanted to. Like one of my daughters could grow up. I have 4 children, and one of my younger daughters could grow up and say, "Hey, Daddy, I want to be an electrician. I love it. I want to do it," and I would support her 100%. But if she came to me and she's like, "Oh, I want to do this because you do it," I would try to talk her out of it. I'd be like, "Hey, I want you to do what you want to do, what makes you happy. Don't do what daddy does." But yeah, if all 4 of my kids ended up being in the trades, I would die a happy man. Only because they want to do it. So, what'd you say, Nate? What a shirt or pics? What do you want me to do? I'm not taking my shirt off. I am off the rails again. Sorry. I went off.
I think he wants a shirt. I think he's jealous.
No, you can't have it. these things are expensive. You realize you start ordering hats and shirts, and it's like, what are you making this with, gold flakes? Like, where are you getting these things from? Um, but so I'm just curious to like go backtrack. So we know the software is awesome. That's amazing. But I was kind of curious to like how this, like, the first conversation that you had, like the brainchild of the conception of this. I'm just curious of the conversation that you had, like, I want to make a software that does load calculations with a lidar scanner. And I know that's probably not how the initial conversation happened, but I'm just curious how this was born.
It's funny because, so as I mentioned, like my co-founder and I, we started working together over 3 years ago. And during that time, we just like, the first question we had is like, what is really interesting to us about like the residential infrastructure? And then we're like, well, okay, let's learn about all the different parties in it. Let's explore what each role has, and then start learning about like what the challenges each piece faces. And very quickly, we focused on how can we support contractors, because we saw the technology as being more limited relative to what you see in other industries. We saw it as just people we wanted to spend time with and work with, and that were really welcoming. And so we decided within a couple months of just our early research of talking to people across the entire, like anyone who touches a residential building, we spoke to. And we were like, we spoke to anyone who would talk to us. We were super lucky that HVAC pros were willing to make the time to talk to us. And we just were like, okay, we keep wanting to learn more here. And so we kept learning. And I would say we iterated through like 15 different ideas before we landed on this. And we built a bunch of random things along the way that we totally scrapped. So I'll tell you some of the ones that we did. We built like an incentive finding tool, and then we're like, this is impossible to update. And also like contractors can't keep up with this for a reason, because these programs disappear suddenly. They're great in theory, but really hard to keep track of. And we're like, we can't keep track of these. And we're like, all right, scrap that. And also, does anyone even want that? We thought about like different marketing things. We actually spent quite a bit of time building predictive sensors and working with people who knew a lot about like IoT data connectivity, and trying to understand like how could you predict failures of systems and get very specific about those. So that was months of time we spent on that. And the whole goal in all of this was trying to figure out like, is this useful? We do a bunch of research up front, build something small, build a small prototype of it, and then get it out there and see what people thought about it. And you could just tell that like when we put some of these other ideas out there in front of people were like, yeah, it's okay. Or like, I could see myself using it. And there's a big difference between like the reaction, Gil, that you had today that you shared with everyone, and the reaction that we get from most contractors we get to talk to. Is there's a huge difference between that and what we previously would get on a lot of these other ideas. And so the more we listen to the core of like the feedback of like, why do people not like these other things that we're doing? And also, what pain points are we actually solving? And it really came back down to, so when we first started doing this research, it was 2021, 2022. And it came back to what are the things that people are struggling with? And if you all remember, it was, you know, the fallout of COVID, nobody could find people anywhere. It was still competitive in terms of sales that people were buying, but you had to be able to service these jobs quickly, and you were still competing against other companies. There was a huge amount of equipment shortage, and there was a challenge to differentiate. And so we started thinking about like, how do we solve any of those problems? And then think about the core feedback we're getting on the different ideas we have to solve them. And so it just kept iterating and changing from there. And we would propose and build small things, get feedback on them. And if we got positive feedback in one direction, we just started doubling down a little bit further and further on it. And I would say that like when we released our first load calculation version in, we released it in like December 2022. The first thing we released, we got really positive feedback on it. And then we started using it in the field with folks, and they're like, this is really good, but you need to change X, Y, and Z. And then same thing in like February, March, every single month we'd go out into the field with contractors who were just willing to let us spend time with them and be direct and honest about what they saw as potential improvement areas. And that's how it evolved. So it was like each week, each month we took a step forward. Sometimes we took like many steps back because we're like, nobody wants what we've built. Mm-hmm. But it was really helpful to know like, okay, we're going in a direction that people might want.
I love that you guys were just thinking of ways to make it better, and it wasn't like a mindset. And this is just kind of where you landed. I think that's
Yes.
awesome. That's So yeah, that I think that when you have a cause and you get great minds thinking about something, good things can happen, and that's what you pretty much just described. To answer one of the questions, I don't see why this wouldn't work in a commercial application. You could definitely do this in a commercial application. So if I said that, I apologize. Obviously, more load calculations are done in residential applications because of the very reason that Jason said is normally in commercial applications, you have engineers and, plans and things like that. But you could very well use this for a commercial application. It's still going to work. So I saw that in the comments as Shelby was talking.
It will work for a light commercial setting. So, not to rain too much on this parade, but the main challenge with our software as built today is we built it off of iOS devices. So, for an iPad Pro, and the sensors are a little bit more limited. So, in a commercial setting where you have like 40-foot, probably way even higher, warehouse spaces or things like that, the scanning that we offer today is probably not going to be sufficient for a true commercial setting, like commercial, restaurant, post office. We got you. We do not have you in a industrial plant or a commercial warehouse or anything like that. And that's just because of the chosen sensors that we have. So we wanted to build something that was already in a device that most folks are already using. It is a pro model of that device, but it enables you to keep everything in the same place. Most folks are using HouseCall Pro, ServiceTitan, et cetera. They're using those on iPads. And so we're like, if we build something for iPad, it's not a big tech change. But for commercial settings, you need something a little bit more powerful, which unfortunately we have not built for yet.
No, that makes perfect sense. So sorry, Jason. Oh, it's not working. Hold on. Didn't work. Sorry. Yeah, no, that does make sense. It's actually a good question. My buddy Rookie asked, will you guys be, if you're not, you definitely should be at one of the AHR Expo in 2025.
Yes. So we went to the 2024 one in Chicago. Nothing like going to Chicago in the middle
Did
of
you really?
winter.
I podcast live there, so yeah, I'm at AHR every year. I wish I would have.
I was frozen, so it was really hard to tell that I was there. I think I was wearing like 4 layers, but I will be at the one in Orlando upcoming this year, which I'm excited for because
That's in your backyard. You can't not be there.
Exactly.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'll be able to finally meet you in person. Yeah, because I think if people really get to see this, it's going to be amazing. And going back to before that, right soft, when you said that is kind of the standard for our industry. Right soft is freaking expensive. If any of you have ever bought it, or go ask your boss how much they paid for it, and they're going to tell you that they spent their kid's college fund on it. And I'm talking like going to Harvard, not community college. So just to put that in perspective, and Right Soft looks like it's from 1990. Like you're playing Oregon Trail. Very, very good as far as the information that it gives, but it's clunky. It doesn't look like a program or a software you should be using in 2024. So that's what I love about this, that it looks like it's like the better new age version that gives you all the same information that you need in a way more efficient and easy fashion to get it, plus the lidar scanning with the 3D model. That's how I feel about it.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
super powerful tool. But it's about making it user friendly and accessible too, and field usable, right? You can't spend two hours in the office, especially in the summer, which I know we're coming up against. But you can spend 8 minutes, and that is what our average project is done in. So it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, and I've even had some people, so we don't always, if a person's buying a system through us, then we don't charge for a load calculation. But another thing, because I'll be honest, the only thing that I could see feedback on this is, especially technicians, is, oh man, I don't know if I can afford this. That's the only thing I could hear anybody say. And I want to try to combat that before we even end this show. Yes, it's worth it. I get that, you guys, and gals work hard for your money. But even if you do, you charge someone, hey, I want to get your system right. We charge, $350 to a load calculation. I just want to make sure that it's, we're putting the correct system. If you decide to buy a system through me, I'll take the $350 off the price of the system. And if you know how to price things, that $350 is irrelevant. So it's just the kind of the game that you play. There is ways to make the finances work. It's about the end product that you're providing to the customer, and that's why I think that this is a no-brainer, because I know where I am, that I can go up against any of these companies, and maybe they offer load calculations, which half of them don't, more than half of them don't. And even if they do, I guarantee they're not using this. So I rather be one of the first people. I always tell you guys, I'd rather be on the front wave of technology than the ass end of it. Because if you're on the end of it, then it's too late by then. You're just kind of following the crowd. I'd rather be in the front of it and, be a trendsetter. That's kind of how I feel when I do things. And that's why I wanted to make sure that we got this on a podcast and people were able to see it, hear about it, and know what this thing does. Because I thought it was awesome when I saw it. So we're pretty much at an hour. I don't keep too much after an hour to keep people. Plus, if the audio podcast goes out too much longer than an hour, I don't want guys starting to wreck vans and all that kind of stuff. But Shelby, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I want to thank you and your co-founder for having the idea to be able to do this, because this is 100% a need. And I know if the word gets out that this thing is slowly going to just take off like wildfire. I can't wait till we're using this more and more and more. And, at Beltway, we're kind of blowing it up in this area. And if I can help you promote this in any way, I would love to, because I do think that this is this awesome. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I told you I was like a little kid on Christmas morning when I saw this, because it was a pain point for us that when it got to doing load calculations, we had to teach our guys, our techs in the field, kind of like a generalized version. And if it was really detailed, myself or Ryan, the owner, had to go out, and it's like, well, I can't be running around doing load calculations all day when I'm trying to run a company. So that's why I love it. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Gil. Thank you so much for having me today. This has been a lot of fun, and just grateful for the opportunity to be here and get to talk a little bit with you and with your community.
Yeah, of course. And you guys are always welcome back. So if you guys add new things or something changes, or you can use different devices, please reach out to me. I'd love to have you back on and talk about it. So guys, remember, Rookie has put the link in the chat. So it's going to be getconduit.com. Go check out the website. You can book a free demo. They'll get you on there and they'll show you the software way more in depth than what Shelby just showed. That was just a fraction of what this thing actually does. So they'll show it in way more detail, and they even do like a live, load calculation as they're showing you. So it's really, really awesome. Go check that out, and make sure you let them know that HVAC Uncensored sent you. But Shelby, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out real fast. If please hang tight if you have to go. I understand. But once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Great to see you.
Yep. Ah, man, why is this not mirrored? I'm facing the wrong direction. It's messing with my OCD. There we go. Yeah, so I hope that all of you watching this were able to get some value out of this. If you're listening to this audio when it comes out, you can go back and watch the video. Shelby showed like a 2-minute and 30-second clip that is kind of like a little teaser, or you can go to the website. The website will also be in the description of the show notes. I have it in the show notes now, actually, but if you listen to the audio, it will be in those show notes as well. You can just click on it and go right to them and check out the demo. And the very least, check out the demo, see what this thing is, and go from there. Because I think that this thing is awesome. It really is. And you guys know how I am. When I get passionate about something, I want you guys to know about it. Because there's not many things out. It's one of the perks of the podcast is there's not many things out. I keep looking at the wrong camera. Sorry. Getting used to the new studio. But there's not many softwares out that I don't know about. That's one of the perks of doing the podcast. And I won't lie, I had never heard of this. And Ryan actually heard of it, and he was like, "Hey, do a demo with this." And I was like, "Cool." And halfway into it, I was like a little schoolgirl. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Because it's a pain point for us, like I just said. So hope that you guys enjoy it. If it's a pain point for you, please go check it out. And this is only going to help you. And just think about it. They're only going to add things to this. That's what really gets me excited. That they're only scratching the surface with what they can do with this thing. Nobody releases a software and it's the best it is. You know what I mean? None of us were the best tech the second day that we started doing HVAC. Um, as this thing keeps going on, they're going to add new things, and this can do it, and that can do it, and I can't even wait to see what happens with that stuff. Um, I mean, even if this thing stayed what it is, it would be enough, and we know that that's just not how things work. So go check that out. I want to thank everybody that came to the live show tonight. We got up to a decent amount of people, so I really appreciate it. Getting this thing back on track, which is awesome. Um, I know that we have a giveaway. I'm trying to get, and I'm trying to get the other things shipped out. You guys can yell at my son for this one. I am a horrible shipper, but my son helped pack up the old studio, and I got to find the box that those things are in so that I can even send them to you. So, trying to play catch up, and um, probably in the next month or so, I'm gonna do something, especially for all of you that are here and you're here all the time. I'm going to be doing something to make it worth your while where you don't have to win it. I'm literally just going to send you guys stuff as a thank you for supporting the show and being here every week, because I really, really do appreciate that. So, with that being said, let me close this thing out. Guys and gals, remember, please be safe out there. All right. We all have somebody to make it home to, and I want you to make it home the same way you left. We live in a crazy world. Okay. Driving, keep your head on a swivel. All right. It's crazy out there. I drive down the road and it makes me nervous just seeing how people drive. When you're working, use your PPE, use your safety protection. Make sure the breaker's turned off. All right. Please just be careful. Protect yourself and be safe. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. If you're going to do something, do it at the best of your ability, or don't effing do it. All right? No matter what, phase you are in the industry, help somebody, give back. All right. Stop having this mentality like you need to hoard your knowledge. If you're really, really good at the trade as you say you are, then help somebody else. Leave a legacy, make them better. All right. And last but not least is I appreciate you guys. Make sure that you follow the podcast on all the social media sites. And with that being said, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Stay safe. And I'll see you mofos next week. Have a great week. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored Podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored Podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
If you guys really want a Beltway shirt, I will do a giveaway.
It's not going to be free, though.